Hello, friendos and randos. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing the games from the literally happened like a few hours ago championship 2025 to 2026 season 2 3-on-3 autumn event. And here are the top 16 teams that made it to the top cut of today's event. As you can see, the meta is very diverse. Of the 16 teams, there are 16 Emu, there's 15 Red Blue Ace, and there's 12 Green Zoro. And the remaining people that aren't playing these decks are on Blue Purple Luffy, Red Purple Roger at 2 each, and there is a Red Yellow Belo Betty as well. So let's head right into the games. Okay, so it looks like we're going to be watching Betty into Roger here. So we're going to be seeing how this matchup goes. I have not seen much Red Yellow Belo Betty in my personal experience in OP13, but I have seen quite a bit of Red Purple Roger. These decks are pretty much the exact opposite of each other. Red Purple Roger is very much play it slow and then like play many big bodies kind of deck, where Red Yellow Betty is, of course, I'm sure you all are familiar with, a very fast and explosive deck instead. So there's quite a difference in how these two decks end up playing, and it looks like Betty is going to be going first here. So we'll have that initiative to try and push for damage a bit earlier, but this also means it's going to be much easier for Red Purple Roger to get his leader effect active, or actually unactive technically, because Red Purple Roger's leader effect is, while you do not have 10 Dawn, well, basically if you have 9 or less Dawn on your board, you have minus 2000 base power, and he is printed as a 7000 power leader. So that gives him a bit of a slow early game. And here we're looking at Red Yellow Belo Betty's starting hand. We see 3 of the 3-cost Karasu and 1 of the 4-cost Karasu, as well as a 6-cost Koala, which is pretty nice. Meanwhile, for Roger, he does have a very nice starting hand here. So he has Shanks, he has 2 of Scopper Gaban, he has a Douglas Bullet, and that 8-cost Roger, which is going to be really crucial in this matchup as well. So for those of you unaware, 8-cost Promo Roger is a character that has on play, if you or your opponent has 10 Dawn on the board, give your leader plus 2000 power until the end of your opponent's turn, which means Roger becomes a 9k base leader. And Roger has actually drawn perfect curve here. He has Shanks to search on turn 1, followed by Bullet to ramp on his 4th on turn, which will put him at 7, and then after that he'll be able to play Scopper Gaban to ramp 1 more, as well as draw 2 and discard 1. So he has drawn really well, and that will just put him exactly at 10 Dawn the following turn, and will allow him to play that 8-cost Roger. So he has curved out almost perfectly here. He top decks into the 1-cost counter plus ramp event, which is still a nice way to keep some defense up as well. We'll play that Shanks Searcher first. Does not have too many targets here, can either take Divine Departure or another Douglas Bullet. Divine Departure seems like a good choice as well, just in case he does end up getting bricked later on in the game, but he might elect to just take that Douglas Bullet as well, just to have a 1k counter instead. Of course, Divine Departure, you do have to discard 1 card to counter out of 3k, to give plus 3k. So slight difference there. Here is the 3-down turn now for Belo Betty. Didn't draw a Searcher, but does have the 4-cost Bartholomew Kuma 2k now in hand. 5k swing into leader. Roger does take that happily, no big deal. We'll go to 7k base later. Here is that 3-cost Karasu now. So for right now, Belo Betty is still doing okay. We'll have a decent curve as well. Leader effect will force Red Purple Roger to attach 1 Dawn to his leader. 6k swing into the Belo Betty leader here. Is not going for a star technique into Kirino, who will take that life, no trigger unfortunately. It is going to be that flame split, so will probably be the way that he gets around the emo matchup and blockers, but currently not super relevant. Here is that Douglas Bullet will allow Red Purple Roger to ramp, so Boots 36 will get up to 5 Dawn now, and next turn he can use that Scopper Gaban. This turn though, what is Belo Betty's play going to be? There is that 4-cost Karasu he can place on the board, because Red Purple Roger doesn't have his 8-cost ready available next turn yet, that Karasu is still relatively safe here, is the Revolutionary Army HQ, which will discard that Flame Split we saw him get off, and then we'll let him look at the top 3 cards. That is a Belo Betty Searcher, as well as Lindbergh, and another 4-cost Karasu, which could be really nice to help you turn the total base power down back to only 5k base if you have that second one on the board. He does choose to go for the Belo Betty Searcher instead though, so we'll have that as an option next turn on his 7 Dawn turn, or this turn he can choose to flood the board a little bit wider, play both that Belo Betty as well as another 3-cost Karasu instead. So let's see what Kirino decides here. And he swings 5k with his leader into the Roger right now, so easily countered by that Bonclay that he took off the previous life. Here's that Belo Betty Searcher now, 5 cards to look off the top 5. I wonder what he's looking for. He is running the 1-cost Lilith as well, so we'll have that as a searchable, an additional searcher. Let's say search for cards with trigger. And a lot of Belo Betty's cards, of course, do have that trigger as well. The 3-cost Karasu on board, as well as the Lindbergh, and you can see the 2-cost Kuma in hand right now. Those are all searchable off of that 1-cost Lilith, so it's a really good way to increase the consistency of the deck. And of course, it's also a 2k power trigger card itself, so it can be boosted by Belo Betty's leader effect to swing for 5. We'll pick up the Inazuma for an additional rush character, and then place down another 3-cost Karasu, having 3 good targets to use the leader effect on next turn now. Now we're going back to Sanroku Familia, who will go up to his 7 Dawn turn. Has a really great curve play here, can just use that 6-cost Scorpio Gaban, go up to 8 total Dawn, and next turn we'll see him go to that 10 Dawn turn. He also has a 10-cost Roger on the board, so these Karasus won't be able to do much defensively next turn either. Here's another 6k swing into the leader of Kirino Chi. That usually means channel, so maybe this guy's a YouTuber. We're gonna see another 6k swing, and then after this, that Scorpio Gaban will come down, ramp Sanroku Familia up to 8 Dawn, and put this Douglas Bullet at plus 2k base power. He did take that hit, will have a Lilith triggered, but chooses not to use the trigger. Instead, maybe wanting to play that Lilith down as a body. We are gonna see that Scorpio come down onto the board, draws 2, gets to discard 1. There is a 10-cost Shanks and Roger, both of which aren't super useful in this matchup, so we might see that Roger get discarded. That Shanks could be very helpful in denying the wide board of value, because he will get minus 1000 power to the entire board, so maybe that's going to be the play instead. Let's see what he elects for now. Right now he has quite a bit of counter in hand still, so I think he doesn't need to worry too much about defense. But this Roger probably isn't that useful in this matchup. Those Karasus are going to turn sideways later anyway, so don't expect them to be staying as blockers. We are going to leave the Douglas Bullet active, not swinging 6k into face just yet. So let's see how Belo Betty decides on this 7 Dawn turn. Does have that 6-cost Koala available in hand, so can play that alongside the 4-cost Karasu. Could be really nice. There's also a 4-cost Ivankov, which could be used instead, so that Kirino doesn't have to take a life off the effect of the Koala. Let's see what the plan is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hands right now. So first we're going to see the Revel Army HQ turn sideways, looking for another Revolutionary Army type card. Belo Betty is the snap pick from Kirino, so still getting more and more searchers still. Really wants to keep using those net neutral cards instead. Can we see the Karasu hit the board this turn, or are we just going to see maybe that Koala? Right now I think Roger is like just really curving out really well. He is one of the best decks ever to have a perfect curve with, because as you saw, he has Bullet, he has Gaban, he's ramped twice already. Next turn, he can play the 8-cost Roger, become 9k base. I don't think Belo Betty is going to do much here. Here is the 6-cost Koala, will allow Kirino to play a 4-cost Rebel Army after he takes a life. So we'll grab a life here. It is gonna be another Revolutionary Army HQ, which is less than ideal. We'll play down 4-cost Ivankov and also let Kirino draw a card. Now he's drawn into another 6-cost Koala, which isn't super great, but we'll still at least have the leader effect to discard these non-counter cards. So we'll allow him to boost 3 of his characters with Revolutionary Army or trigger on the board. The whole board is Revolutionary Army right now. We'll be boosting the Betty, the Karasu, and the 4-cost Ivankov. So one of the Karasu does not become 5k just yet. He is going to boost 2 attackers, so we're gonna see like 557 here, and he does still have 1 down open, so this other 3-cost Karasu can still come in for a 5k swing as well. Let's see what Kirino does here. 5k swing is counted out with the 3-cost Douglas Bullet from the hand of Sanroku Familia. And now we're gonna see the 4-cost Ivankov effect used. If you have 7,000 power, you can play a 4-cost Revolutionary Army type character card from your hand. Karasu is going to be the choice here. Will allow the 3-cost Karasu now to attack for 4k into the 4k base leader of Roger. Here's a 6k swing instead from the Belo Betty leader. This is going to be 3k counter, is not counted out. Now 7k swing from this 3-cost Karasu as well. There's going to be 4k counter on this 4k leader. So will be quite a painful take, but it's just going to be taken. Roger still very like safe in his current position, because next turn he's going to go up to 9k base, and that means that Kirino is not going to be able to do too much work anyway. So 1 Dawn will also be able to be left open for that counter event, and will put Sanroku Familia in a really good spot, I think, for this turn defensively. First off, Douglas Bullet is going to swing 6k into the 3-cost Karasu. This is going to be a 3k counter, or we can see a block +1 as well. It's just going to be let go though. Now, Kirino did leave this last Karasu active, so does want to use that as a blocker. Most likely is expecting something like a Rayleigh maybe, or that Roger. Roger would be really powerful as well. 7k swing into leader now. Block +2 will do it. Or he could go for a full 3k counter. It's gonna be that block +2 with the Koala and the Bartholomew Kuma from hand. And Sanroku Familia now going to most likely play that 8-cost Roger, or he could also play the Scarborough Gaban to try and filter hand a little bit more and leave more Dawn active. But I think that Roger is going to be the better play defensively and offensively as well, because it will make Roger's leader swing going for 10. Right now it's already 7 base plus 1 attached Dawn, so +2 now is going to be 10k into the Koala. 5k counter needed to get out of this swing. The Karasu is going to be given up to protect from it. There is going to be 1 Dawn active for Sanroku Familia, so still in a fairly safe position. Back to Belo Betty, 9 Dawn turn right now. How much work can be done? The Karasu is still on board, so there can be a bit of reduction from this 9k base leader. Can bring him down to 8 if he can find a second Karasu off of maybe this Rebel Army Stages effect. That could be brought down even lower. So let's see what he finds off the top here. Morley is discarded. It looks like an Ivankov, and it looks like no Karasu just yet on this top 3. So we aren't gonna see that allow him to go down even further on base power. There is just going to be Ivankov, Bartholomew Kuma, and a Lilith for these 3 options on the search. We'll put that 4-cost Ivankov into hand. There is still 1-cost Belo Betty that can be used to find another Karasu. So let's see what Kirino is going to do here. This is quite a sticky situation, I would think. This 2-life 9k base leader is going to be very difficult to push through. He even has 8 cards in hand with that Divine Departure, with that counter event, so it's gonna be a little bit out of reach for Kirino he will drop that Belo Betty, is maybe looking for that Karasu like we mentioned, does not find it still. There is a Koala 2k and I believe a Molly as well, so maybe we'll just go for more counter in hand. That is gonna be the Koala taken off that top 5. Will boost his hand just a little bit more, but I do think another blocker needs to be played or Kirino is not gonna be able to win the game, because next turn he's going to take 5 big attacks, I think. So the Shanks can come down or the Rayleigh can come down, and that would make it really devastating for Kirino here. However, maybe one of the good plays he can do here is to just try and push Sanroku Familia down to 0, and then the following turn, then he can try to push for lethal. But without that second Karasu, it's going to be really difficult to go through a 9k base leader. All that being said, there is still a lot of One Piece to be played, maybe another 3 turns after this current one. So let's see what the plays are going to be. Thinking about it from the Rogers point of view, I think he's really feeling pretty happy. He's gotten his perfect curve, he's gotten Bullet into Gaban into Roger, has slowly went up the ladder of the Roger Pirates, and next turn we'll be able to go to that 10 cost Shanks or even the 8 cost Rayleigh, which are both really great options as well for top end. And he's kind of just chilling, like he doesn't really have to do anything right now, just has to react to what Kirino is going to do to him right now. It is going to be an option for him to also just not play too much. Here is the 3 cost Inazuma played down off of the 4 cost Ivankov's effect. After putting this character at 7,000 power, you can play down a Revolutionary Army type character. Here is the Koala discarded. We are going to give +3 to Inazuma, +3 to Ivankov, and +3 to Karasu. Karasu will now allow Kirino to put Sanroku Familia down to 8k base, which is still very, very high. I think Kirino is maybe getting flashbacks from the Black Yellow Luffy matchup if he ever played it. 8k swing into life would just be 1k counter, so maybe he could also try and contest board. He is going to go 8k into the Douglas Bullet, giving -1 to Scopper Gaban here, putting him also at 6k. This is going to be a 3k counter required, so you can probably expect the swings this turn to all be focused on the board instead. Now we're going to see 1 Dawn attached to the Inazuma, who now has Rush because there is another character with 7,000 power on the board. 8k swing now into the Scopper Gaban. Well, maybe be countered out of. This is going to be 3k counter. However, if Sanroku Familia counters out of this, then he is still giving Kirino a 6k body to punch into instead of forcing those attacks to be on the 9k base leader of Roger. That being said, it is still good to force these hits onto the board and protect his life, but I think lethal is no longer on the cards for Sanroku Familia next turn. Now let's see how Kirino decides to develop his board here. He can go for 2 9k swings, and it is going to be the play here. 9k swing with that Belo Betty leader, 4 Dawn attached. It is going to be counted out very simply with just that Scopper Gaban. Now we're going to see 3 Dawn under the Ivankov, putting it at 11k total. The 1 cost counter event will be enough to get out of that. There is plus 3,000 from this counter event, and we're gonna pass the turn back over to Sanroku Familia, and it will be 10 full Dawn now available for him. Doesn't need to attach Dawn to his leader anymore once he is at that 10 Dawn turn. So what are the options here? First, he can do Rayleigh, he can just use that, attach a Dawn to his leader, rest that Belo Betty, clear it with his 1-cost Shanks, then he can swing into the Karasu with his leader, the Rayleigh and the Roger, putting him at quite a good position, and that looks like what he is planning on right now. There is the 8-cost Rayleigh making his way onto the board. His vice captain now side by side has his back really well. 2k swing from Shanks into the Belo Betty 2k Searcher. Every single counter will matter here for Kirino as a deck that really wants to push for lethal. Even protecting this is an option. This is one body still, and he is considering protecting it. He will be able to protect this easily. The remaining 3 attacks are definitely out of reach for him. He only has 4k left. That Roger is going to swing 8 and then 9 and then 10. So we are going to see the rest of the board get cleaned up. But Kirino really wanted to make sure this one character at least stayed on the board. 9k swing now into Karasu will be taken out by Rayleigh, his vice captain, right hand man. Now the 10k swing from the 8-cost Roger will put Ivankov in the dirt as well. No 6k counter available. 8k swing now from the leader is gonna be a block plus 3k counter here, I believe. So Koala blocks plus 3k counter is given, and now Kirino has only one option left. With his 3 characters on board, he needs to go for lethal. Will have to draw a Revolutionary Army type card. Does in fact get one, so will have that as a way to boost his board by 3,000 per character. Now let's see how he does this. He will, using his leader effect, put all of his board at 5,000, 7,000 and 9,000 power. And remember, every single hit needs to land here, so he will have to split his 10 Dawn very wisely. There is no Karasu available. We are just checking the trash to count how many 2Ks are out of the game already. I believe it's like 0 at this point. I don't think Sanroku Familia has been forced to use one so far, and in fact in hand has 2 of those 2Ks. He has a Divine Departure and he has that 1-cost counter event, so a total of 10k counter available for Sanroku Familia right now, in a really good position to not lose this turn. And Kirino is just going to look for a Karasu, maybe does turn the stage sideways regardless. Does need to hit a Revolutionary Army type character still to use that leader effect, but let's see what the plan is. I suppose it's also a possibility he just attaches 10 to leader and just tries to take out either the Roger or the Rayleigh, and tries not to just lose this turn, waiting for one more turn. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to allow him to not lose the game, because there is still going to be 2 big hits and he will then be forced to block with this 6-cost Koala. So let's see what the choice is of the Revolutionary Army HQ here. I believe it was all Revolutionary Army type cards, so can still choose between those for his leader effect. Still will be able to use that leader effect. He does have that Belo Betty Searcher as an option, does take a Koala 2k counter instead. Let's see what the play is here. Doing a little bit of quick math. Board is 5, 7 and 9 after the leader effect. Trying to split that up a little bit. He can attach 2 to Inazuma, 4 to the Belo Betty and 4 to his leader and go for 4 9k swings. But that will just be 6k counter. Is going to use that leader effect, boosting the board 3k each. Belo Betty at 5, Inazuma at 6, Koala at 9 now. Will have 10 Dawn left to play with. But Sanroku Familia is representing 3k counter with that 1-cost event. Could even be representing a Radical Beam as well, because he is already at 2 life. Let's see what The response is here. 9k swing now. Sanroku Familia is also going to be doing the math this time. 9k is most likely going to be the baseline of the swings. He could also pivot to maybe 9, then 11 with the Inazuma. Let's see how the play is going to proceed. Is a non-counter card off of the top of the life. 9k swing from the koala is taken. Now we're going to see how many Dawn is attached to this Inazuma. If it's going to be 3 Dawn for a 10k swing, that Belo Betty Searcher goes in for 12 instead. So let's see how we're going to do that math. 10 full Dawn available. This is Belo Betty's strong suit, that you get to use cards in your hand to be effectively 9 extra Dawn you play with on the turn, and it looks like it's going to be a 10k swing from the Inazuma. This forces 2k counters out of Sanroku Familia, which he does have in hand. There is just going to be 7 Dawn remaining, could be a 12k swing, or if this is counted out with the 2k counters, we might see him split this up into a 8k swing and a 9k swing instead. If this doesn't go through though, I believe it is going to be Sanroku Familia's game is taken instead, and now the 7 active Dawn are all going to be attached to Belo Betty. Either the leader or the searcher, doesn't really make a difference. Here's a 12k swing. Does Sanroku Familia have enough counter? And I believe the answer is yes, he does. Here is the 3k counter event, puts him up at 10. Now Divine Departure, we saw him take earlier, puts him up to 13, and just with 3 cards he counters out of a 12k swing. That's the power of that 7k base leader with 5 total life, and now he is going to make short work of Kirino's hand. Does of course have to worry still about something like a Karasu blocker, but is not going to be the case. 9k swing into leader, and that is going to be game. Red Purple Roger takes it over Red Yellow Betty. But remember, this is a 3-on-3 tournament, and despite Roger winning, that does not mean the game is over for that team. Good game from both sides. Red Purple Roger, when you see that curve, you just go crazy. It's insane, and we really saw that power there. And Betty, just unfortunate, doesn't have 5 cost Ivankov or that 4 cost Ivankov on the 5 Dawn turn, and unfortunately isn't gonna be able to take the game over Roger here. But let's see the next game and what happens next. And it looks like we're still in the first round. We've already saw Sanroku Familia take that win over the Red Yellow Belo Betty of the Kirino Channel team. This is Kitsu versus Figon from the same teams as well. We're going to see now Emu is going to be against Green Zoro. Is going to start turning sideways into face. 7k swing is counted out with Kawamatsu and the Cavendish. 2 cards left in hand for Green Zoro and 3 life. Leader effect does sacrifice Saturn to draw a card. We might still be able to see lethal from the Emu here, because he can play that Nasjiro for only 3 Dawn with the empty throne. Here we're gonna see the top man Warcury now. 7k swing into Green Zoro's leader again. Will force both of these cards out. Green Zoro does have 1 Dawn active, so it could be that Asura Dead Man's game to protect him from lethal as well. So there are options available. There's no blockers. This could be the lethal turn for Figon, or he could still maybe go for 1 more turn, but does have to worry about that Asura Dead Man's game. His 10 cost Go Rosei will allow him to get rid of both the active and the rested Tashigi pretty easily, but Figon is putting the pressure on. 7k swing with this Warcury into face will force Kitsu down to 2 life now. 8k swing with that Peter will force a 4k counter out of Kitsu. We are going to see at least 1 more swing from the leader, and if there is going to be that rush, Nasjuro available will maybe be enough for lethal. 9 Dawn available for Figon here. That leader Emu is probably going to be 6k base at least. If Kitsu counters out of this though, he is probably not gonna keep that Asura Dead Man's game for lethal next turn, and I think then Figon will be safe still. So it will depend on what the other card is in Kitsu's hand, as well as the top card of his deck. a 8k swing here is going to be pretty risky to not counter out of though, because you can already see Figon laying his Don out. If this 8k swing is taken, 3 Don is going to go on his leader, go in for a 9k swing. Here it is just going to be 2 Don though, 8k swing instead from the leader. 1 Don is going to be rested. That is the Ashura's Dead Man's Game plus 1k counter with the Kozuki Hiyori. Now Figon doesn't have lethal anymore, but he can pivot to start going for the board instead. Here's the empty throne tapped for 3 Don. The 10 cost Gorosei are now on the board. Another 10 cost is discarded in order to use that effect, as well as 1 more Don is rested. Here comes the 5 Elders onto the board. Saturn's effect first triggers now. On play, gets to look at the top 5 for a 5 Elders type card. There is 2 counter events as well as a few other of the Elders. It's really so much searching in this deck. We'll be able to discard 1 now to get rid of that active 5 cost Tashigi, and then use that active Nazjuro to get a guaranteed kill onto the rested Tashigi. Mars is now discarded for the effect of the Mars that was just played onto the board. Now 7k swing from Nas into the Tashigi is going to take it down. Let's see what Kitsu has in store. Does he have another Dead Man's Game available to rest the 2 blockers, or even a Kuina will be enough, because then the 1 Mars will not be able to do anything in the face of Zoro's 3 sword style. Multiple attacks, Dawn times 3. When you get to attack a character on the board, you may set this leader active. Does Kitsu have a restand event as well? Can do something like 999 instead. He does only have 4 cards in hand, Figon. I did see the counter event Equilibrium, as well as I believe one he searched off the top, and then he also has Never Existed. So that is 10k counter available for Figon. He can also draw another card off of this Topman Valkyrie's block as well. So let's see how much Don Kitsu is going to be attaching here for the Kirino Channel team. If Kirino Channel Zoro here is able to take the game, there is still a chance for them to come back. But if he loses, Sanroku Familia will be moving on to the next round. Now it is going to be final turn for Kitsu and his green Zoro. Let's see what the play is. He's hovering for Dawn. Does he have the Kuina, or is he going to double restand event instead? Time is called. They're just explaining the end of game procedures. I believe there's no double loss in the top cut, so maybe it's something like a final 3 turn kind of situation, and that is going to be the case. Senko player no turn 2に so they're just explaining what happens whether the time is called during the first or the second player's turn. So I believe if time is called during the first player's turn, it is just going to be 1 more turn for the second player, and if time is called for the second player's turn, then it is going to be game over on the spot there. I do need to take a quick look at the rules there again, just to read it again and make sure they're correct. No, sorry, it's not game over on the spot. If time is called during the first player's turn, we're gonna play 3 more turns. And if time is called during the second player's turn, we're gonna play 2 more turns. And then after that, then we'll move into the tiebreakers, which is firstly the number of life, then the size of deck, and then we're gonna play rock, paper, scissors. So that is going to be the tiebreaker for the time call. But since the time has been called during Kitsu, who is the second player's turn, we are gonna see 2 more turns at least. So we'll go back to Figon and then back to Kitsu again. What are the 2 cards available. Here is the Kuina. So Top Man Mercury will be rested, won't allow Figon that card draw. 3 Dawn is now attached to that Zoro leader. Everything else is going to be attached as well. 14k swing from the Zoro leader. A block is not going to be enough. We are going to see that block though. Here is a 14k swing now. That is going to be 10k to get out of it, and Figon has it. That is going to be 4 plus 3 plus 3 to get out of it. And it is enough. He does have it. This 4 cost Zoro though is going to swing 1k, 2k from the Shirahoshi and will pass the turn. And that is going to be Kizu's loss. Figon takes it, and his team, the Sanroku Familia, will make it to the top 8 of the Championship Season 2 3-on-3 Autumn. Congratulations to the team, and we're still seeing the final match in the middle play out still. I believe that is gonna be the final team player. Maybe it's an ace. I would assume it's an ace, but we will find out. And that is going to be that Red Purple Rogers team making it into the top 8.